prosecutors submitted new footage linking Melly to the deaths of Sakchaser and Juvy to block his bond, and it worked. The evidence showed to Judge Fiend that Melly exited the rap studio first, ahead of Sakchaser, Juvy, and Bortland, then sat in the back left seat of the Jeep, preparing for what came next.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes? All right.
The official court documents state the bullet trajectories from left to right in the car support that the shots came from the back left seat where Melly sat. Even Juvy's mother confirmed his presence there.
Can you state your name?
I'm Leon.
And are you related to one of the
Yes, I am.
How's
Mother.
and who is that?
Christopher Sonny.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat? If you can identify specifically.
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Jamel.
What you didn't know was the prosecutor's sneaky move. The news reported a no communication order has been filed in the Melly trial. This order separates Melly and Bortland. Completely no talking, no lawyer discussions, just silence. Because prosecutors want to block any coordination as they plan to try both Portland and Melly together.
Here and try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. Just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. We're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
If prosecutors try them together, he can use Bortland's interrogation from the night of the crime, which reveals he was attempting to hide something about the case.
Okay, tell me what happened.
And I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already being sleepy, almost home. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's out of nowhere, like, sure. You know what I'm saying? So then I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car. And I almost cried.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
From Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
To Austin, 595
to 75. Then you took 75 south?
It's clear to the officers that Bortland's story doesn't add up, but he tries to stay confident during the interrogation.
Here's the hard part, what we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell case. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And
it's hard. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the price.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends, are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
These your two, I'm assuming close friends.
No.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth. I don't, how, what do you want?
How do you make shell cases disappear?
I don't know. I cannot tell you about the shell case.
But the interrogation worsened as Bortland grew angry when the officers refused to buy his story.
I told y'all the story, and that's it. I don't even talk about it. And I told y'all. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Just so you know, right? Because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's, and we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
When a suspect shuts down like Bortland did, it's up to the officers to get them to talk again and reveal any details. This helps them use the suspect's own words against them later. Whether the story changes or they say too much, the investigators especially wanted to know what Bortland did during the drive-by.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about this? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be worried about it.
I know it's not for you to worry about, but if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. Kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
In a surprising move, the investigator pressured Bortland by asking, if you know who did this, would you tell me?
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear. But I respect the truth rather than BS. Okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
I wouldn't.
Instead of giving a straightforward answer, Bortland just shook his head no, careful not to let his voice crack or change his tone from earlier in the interview. He knew that any change in his body language could tip off the officers and give them reason to press harder. The scariest part is, if Bortland faces prison for this crime, he likely won't hesitate to shift the blame onto Melly, especially since Melly's lawyer already tried blaming Bortland in the first trial.
Those were his guns. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car, two bodies, car riddled with bullets. When he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having the phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in the pocket, not Cortland Henry.
Evidence showed Bortland lied to the feds and had gunpowder residue on his hands, meaning he either fired the weapon or was right there when the shooting happened. As explained by a forensic scientist discussing the powder.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of plant residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of plant residue and 1 two-component particle.
And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was plant residue present on the hands.
Bortland hated that Melly's team targeted him, which is why after Melly's mistrial, he tweeted, "Mind games don't work on people like me," with a handshake emoji as if accepting some deal. Meanwhile, another problem arose for Melly, his ex-girlfriend, who had been missing since the original trial where she was to testify, has resurfaced and the feds have now taken custody of her.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
Mariah's release came with the condition that she must testify in Melly's trial. It's rumored they spoke the night of the crime, making her testimony potentially crucial for the feds. After her release, she posted on Facebook, "Thank you to my village. I love y'all so much. God's plan, not mine." Disturbingly, investigators found evidence in her iCloud, suggesting Melly pressured her not to testify witness tampering, which can carry a life sentence regardless of Melly's guilt in Sakchaser and Juvy's deaths.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
The craziest part is that Melly has been cut off from jail phones and all human contact for nearly a year, so severe that his mother gave an interview to speak out about it.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
The main reason Melly lost phone privileges is because authorities believe he used jail calls for witness tampering, which may have contributed to his initial mistrial. But it's not all bad for Melly. He still has one more chance at bond before his September trial. His legal team proposed an unspecified bond to be paid by his label, 300 Entertainment. If granted, they promised the judge Melly would be on house arrest, wear an ankle monitor, and have 24/7 security. The plan seemed solid enough that a fellow rapper tweeted, "That boy Melly coming home. I feel it," which Melly's mother shared on IG Live.
We just still praying. I know. I said I would I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically, the judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Tessa, I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming.
They're pushing to get Melly out because his treatment in jail is inhumane, illegal.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
They also introduced GPS evidence from the original trial showing Melly sprinting down a street and hiding in a bush while the crime was taking place.
That would be the part of him saying that someone just put a car up and was trying to shoot him. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, "There's a car coming behind him, and I'm hiding." He was like, "There's some, there's some, I think they're still out here or something." So I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm okay." I said, "Well, where are Sakchaser and Juvy?" And he said, "I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're..."
Melly's defense team also pointed out that no firearm was ever recovered from the crime, suggesting it was more likely the result of a drive-by shooting.